I just don't see most men talking about this. Like, I've never seen a dude like this, man. I would get with her, bro, but she too dark, bro. I just can't do it, man. I have heard women say, I can't get with him because I want to have I want to have some light skinned kids with some good hair. Right. And I think that the colorism we're talking about, I think we're suggesting that this is a like black men and black women, both have this equal contribution to this. When a lot of this stuff to me is perpetuated from a lot of times from our mothers or aunties that grew up hearing about colorists, and and you start kind of giving that false praise. I'm gonna tell you something that happened to my daughter. So I'm married 15 years. I got 2 daughters and 2 sons. One of my daughters is darker, and someone proceeded to compliment my dark-skinned daughter as if there's a problem with her dark skin. Does that make sense? So it's like the compliment is, yeah. So the compliment ain't because she's a pretty girl who happens to be dark skinned. It's the compliment is more so in spite of her being dark, girl, just know you're beautiful. As a father, I'm like, oh hell no, we're not gonna plant those seeds in my kid. And I think that the colorism we're talking about, it doesn't just happen anywhere. A lot of this stuff happens in our homes where I agree with Trigger Mike. When you start getting upset and you dig for the most hurtful things, and we know that that colorism piece is part of that, we'll reach for it. And I think that a lot of this could be eradicated if more of our women, that's my dark skinned child, or you pretty for a dark skinned girl, or a girl, you can't wear this because this don't match your skin. Instead of telling her what doesn't work, show her what actually does work. And you know what I mean? And you infuse that sense of beauty for her, not because she's dark skinned, but because she's beautiful. I think mothers and women have a profound impact on daughters because men gonna like what we gonna like. Let me tell you something. Now, black is beautiful, but no one can tell me that Lupita with her dark self ain't one of the finest things you've seen roaming this earth, right?
Yes, sir.
Because attractive is attractive, right? And she's not attractive as a dark skinned woman. She's just attractive who happens to be dark skinned. I think we've got to promote that.
Yeah. So that scene where she's standing there and the latest Black Panther looking over the water, I had to like look at my wife like, does she see me staring this? And she's like, I see it too. I see it too. I was like, good God.
Anybody else want? Because I will have to. That the video continues, and she does explain the same thing you explained. Do you guys want me to play? It's the same thing, but it's just elaborated. No. Okay, but she goes into why she feels in the mental that people think that way. So no.
Well, I think
we're open. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said what now?
I was just saying if you want to, that's fine.
No, if you guys don't want to, we don't have to play it.
Okay, no, thank you.
Okay. We don't even care why they think that what they think, huh? Okay, but and the reason why I wanted to have the conversation because I didn't know if it was a bigger because I know a lot of guys go overseas and they date women and everything, but I even noticed that when I was online because I think of a universal and I think that everybody does follow what the West does. We're kind of like trendsetters or whatever. But even it was crazy to me that even Black women in Brazil aren't marrying. Did you guys see that? Have you guys seen that on the internet? That their numbers are even low when it comes to being asked to being married. And I was just thinking, like, I wonder why that is. Because the girl couldn't explain it. She just said,
when you talk about colorism, there is actually worse. So if you know some Brazilians, their colorism culture is some of the worst, I think, in the world. So like to the point of it sparks violence type of thing. So that's one of the reasons I can tell you why. Yeah.
Colorism is mainly a female issue. I don't think so.
And maybe now. I think that when we were growing up, I think that maybe it is now. We can't say what's going on now because I haven't had those issues, but I do have friends who experience some from men. And even when it's like, oh, you know how you be like, oh, hook me up with, it's like, oh, she's beautiful, but I'll take, and I'm like, why? And it's that whole she's pretty for a dark-skinned girl, and it's like I even have a girlfriend who's dark-skinned, she's married, but she didn't want to have a daughter because she didn't want her daughter to experience what she went through. Yeah, so it's definitely there. And she didn't experience it from females. That's not what she said to me. So it's kind of like you have guys who love dark-skinned women, and fortunately she's got one. And then you have some people who are, even when it comes to men, though, even though men, I think, we always say the black of the berry,
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely the whole like light skin privilege kind of thing where, especially, and it's not just amongst women, it's how we are accepted from the collective, so, to y'all's point, we're kind of moving in the direction where more melanated women are being accepted mainstream and, collectively. So, I mean, yeah, it's certainly not just an issue that's among women. It's definitely
Black David. I think that's his name. Black David. I think that's his name.
By men as well.
In the early 2000s, when we'd be like in bottle service and stuff, I've been around some people that wanted a specific type of looking girl. They wasn't going like the colorism shit is real, and they pretty much say it to the promoter.
Well, the reason why I think it can be sometimes it can be colorism, but the weird thing that people don't realize is that black men actually have a spectrum of women that are black to choose from. So when a white dude, I've never heard a white dude say, "Give me the palest woman you got." No, they just look at white women as white. They might want them tan, but you don't really see that. It does go into like Middle Eastern cultures. They don't want a dark woman, but black men primarily have a spectrum of colors of women to choose from. And then I've noticed also, if you want to know a man's preference, sometimes just look at his mother. He may not have a light skin preference because he doesn't like dark skinned women. His mom is just light. Right, so you got to look at it that way too, because
or maybe his mom is dark.
I definitely agree, but I can also say that there's a fine line between preference and patterns, and at the end of the day, I can't negate the fact that melanated women, the colorism issue has also been perpetuated by Black men. Not just the color of our skin, but then if she's a melanated girl and she's got textured hair, she's got 4A, 4B, 4C hair that doesn't grow very long, like she's a Black one. Like when you start adding these features in, yeah, they are not, I mean, yeah.
Look, to trigger Mike's point, right? My mother is probably the color of Sir Hale, but my grandmother is like a in between Dahlia and Shan color. Like it's like an orangish dark color. My grandmother kind of helped raise me more than my mom, so that was the color that I like was primarily attracted to based off that. Like that does happen. Like if me and my mom's relationship would have been different, I might have wanted the woman that was the same color as her. All those things might play into it. I'm not gonna hold you.
And this is a piggyback. I think one of the guys said this. I don't know if it was Mike or Sir Hale, but one of the things, because I have a friend, he actually brought this up to me as well, because I was wondering why he chose the wife that he chose. And we were talking about colorism and all that stuff. Well, his wife is not Black at all, which was cool. I like his wife. But one of the things that
sarcasm.
Huh?
Sarcasm was written all over you.
No, I do like his wife. But I liked all of his girlfriends. Like I liked them all. It was just wondering, like, how did he choose her when you had so many great ones? Like God blessed you with all these great girlfriends. And it's like, okay, luckily I liked them all. He just had a good picking, And so my question was, well, what made you settle down with her? Because they were all so great, and and he would even speak highly of them. And so we started talking about colorism and everything, and it was just different topic. But one of the things that he mentioned was, he said, in our, his mom did that to him. Like, for example, when he brought a dark-skinned girl home, his mom was like, nah, she too dark, she too this, she too that. Okay. He said, and then, it kept going on. He said, and finally I brought this chick home, and she's like, well, how you get her? He was like, what? He said, so women do that to their kids, their sons. I think I told you that story, right? Mistaken. But you're right. Women do it to their sons. They do. They put that inside their heads.